crucial to understand just how powerful the immune system is and, of course, how it really works. The traditional model holds that there are two parts of the immune system, which are the innate and the adaptive. But there's a third part of our immune system that's called the intuitive. We'll talk about that in a second. The innate immune system acts as an initial physical and chemical line of defense. Any foreign substance that enters the eyes or the ears or the skin, which are our first lines of defense, is immediately addressed through white blood cells and something called cytokines. The bark of a tree is the tree's innate immune system, just as our skin is part of our innate immune system. The second aspect is the adaptive immune system, which is exactly what the body does. This is the phase where the body and the chemical makeup of the cells begins to create antigens, and the macrophages of the cells, which is the inner nucleus and the inner operative body of the cell, begins to figure out and decode the foreign substances that are in our system, and then create specific attackers, such as B cells and T cells, that go after those invaders. The adaptive system is the system that creates antibodies. One of the issues with the COVID vaccine, and I'm not anti-COVID vaccine per se, but it skips over the innate immune system and triggers the adaptive immune system right away. And what it does is it sort of gives instructions to the adaptive immune system to produce antibodies without the body experiencing anything on the innate level. Third aspect of the immune system, what I like to call the intuitive aspect, is the product or the manifestation of the thoughts and the will or the intention of the action of our immune cells, or our ability to protect ourselves, is directly connected to our own will and the intention that we carry within us, which is of course very much related to our thoughts. So our mind and our emotions play a crucial part in our immune system. They cannot be separated from the workings and the power of our immune system. The basis for inner technology is the integration of these three aspects of the immune system, and using techniques and modalities to strengthen and invigorate all three of these areas so that we become a more adaptive and protected and future-minded organism as time goes on. The sum of these three aspects at work is our inner technology. It is that great exponential ability that we have, be it innate, adaptive, or intuitive, to survive. And the techniques and the modalities that I use specifically address these three areas. The world is toxic only because we have become toxic. We can adapt to a toxic world and change a toxic world once, of course, we change ourselves. Let's look at the three-pronged approach to activate our inner immune technology. First and foremost, to address all three aspects of the immune system, really the crux and the foundation for a strong immune system is through breathing techniques. The ancient Vedic system allows us to use the wisdom and the science of pranayama, which is controlled breathing, and also Kriya Yoga. These are two modalities that are thousands of years old, and of course proven through medical science and medical meditation. Research by Dr. Singh Khalsa and many others has shown this. These practices regulate the nervous system. They also regulate the secretion of hormones in the brain that allow us to attain emotional management and an emotional content that is flexible, adaptive, and aware of our surroundings. These techniques create cellular awareness in the lungs. And it is the lungs, of course, that filter and block airborne bacteria. So when the cells in the lungs, of the alveoli and the various parts of the lungs, are responding to these airborne pathogens, they need to be oxygenated. They need to be awake and aware. They need to align with our intentions of our brain and our will. And so all of this is sort of encompassed with these two practices. Next, of course, we utilize nutrition. And everyone talks about these days what are the best nutritious foods and nutritious dietary plans, or best vitamins and minerals to put into your body, when in actuality the key to understanding nutrition is understanding who you are as an individual. That is your genetic makeup, your hues, your dominant elements, if you will. Each one of us respond differently to what we put in our bodies. The last technique of inner technology is something I call the Earth Modality. The Earth Modalities specifically speak to the intuitive part of the immune system. And what we use for these modalities is either heat or cold therapy, as well as nature excursions. When we use heat or cold therapy, we shock and awaken the system. I know that sounds a little painful, and it is in a way, but 2 to 5 minutes of pain is probably worthwhile when compared to 25 years of pain through chronic illness or sickness. Hot or cold therapy creates what I like to call a Paleolithic response. It triggers that limbic system in our brain and that very old evolutionary part of us that is intuitively connected. Again, everyone is wired differently, and this alternative modality is not for everybody, but it's a very convincing option that could begin with just a cold shower in the morning. Finally, nature excursions. Hiking, camping out in the woods, going to the ocean, exposing yourself to the ecosystems and all of the microorganisms that are out there in nature. This dynamic system again triggers that Paleolithic memory that allows us to incorporate and adapt to all of the bacteria that's within us, because we ourselves are a form of bacteria. We are each human super beings, but at the same time, we're just bacteria. So once we realize that consciousness and realize that we can adapt to any environment around us, and the dynamic part of what is within us matches the dynamics of our environment, then that intuitive part of our immune system is active and it is in control. Smelling and taking in what is produced from the trees and the plants around us, exposing ourselves to the microbes and all of the different minerals in the dirt, allows us to become more versatile. It stretches and creates elasticity in the immune system by creating more forms of life within us. And so I hope that you subscribe to Inner Technology and continue to want to learn about a super being human.